Okay, so this is actually a really unexpected position for me to be in. It's a little bit awkward. I am not a fan of Crackdown. I never have been a fan of Crackdown. I anticipated this game to be in the high 60s on Metacritic, and I had no hype whatsoever for this game. As a matter of fact, it was an afterthought. I planned on just no-lifing Metro Exodus. Yes, this is actual Xbox One X gameplay. These are the types of games that I like. I like Metro Exodus. I like The Witcher 3. I like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I loved God of War. I've been asking for more games of this caliber from Microsoft. They are stepping it up. That's why they doubled the size of their studios in the last 10 months. It's obvious. But Crackdown is the last little piece of shit to fall out of that asshole. So guess what? I tried it. I liked it. If you got a problem with that, go ahead and fuck off now. I'm going to give you my honest thoughts on why I like Crackdown, how unexpected this was for me, and really just to preemptively destroy any of these idiots who say it's damage control or that I'm lying. Think for a second. Go through the backlog of reviews. Look at what I said about Sea of Thieves. Also, how many of you loved something like The Order 1886 when it came out? You do realize these games aren't far off, right? So before you question those types of things, just think. Now, first and foremost, if you have a favorite reviewer and you know what, you usually agree with this guy, then go with his score. This isn't to discredit anybody that's actually played through the game and given their honest opinion. The problem I've had with this whole Crackdown 3 thing is, hey, I haven't played the game, but I heard it's trash. I can't try it myself. That would make me a real gamer. So I'm going to go ahead and take a shit on the game. And also, I'm going to go ahead and talk about how we don't need games like God of War because we have State of Decay 2. These are some of the frauds that people are listening to. Honestly, Crackdown 3 can be a literal blast. And no, I'm not exaggerating here. It can be a lot of fun. Does that mean it's a great game? Does that mean it's an 8.5, a 9, a 500? No, it doesn't. But what it does mean is to me, and this is somebody who isn't even a Crackdown fan, never was, don't even like the type of gameplay usually, had a great time. I'll be up front, 7.5 for me. And that comes largely thanks to the fun factor of taking on a ton of enemies at once. You know, I hate making this comparison on video because I know some idiot is going to take this out of context and run with it, but I would compare Crackdown's pressure, the encounters. It reminds me of what I felt in Doom 2016 a little bit. As you see in this footage, I am facing a ton of enemies and I am being forced to move, to adapt, to attack. There is no breath. You cannot stop. And in that regard, it reminds me very much of my experience with Doom 2016, which I actually played late. I regretted waiting that long to actually give Doom a try. I thought, much like I thought with Crackdown 3, oh, it's a little mindless, you just murder things over and over and you move on. Well, in a way, I was right. But I was discounting the adrenaline, that rush you get from having this many enemies firing rounds past your head. There's something to be said about this type of gameplay that is appealing to people. Also, in regards to its Metascore, it's 6 out of 10. It might be lower by now. I find it hard to believe that any kind of Crackdown fan will not think that Crackdown 3 crushes all other Crackdown games combined. Think about it. This game does pretty much everything better than the other Crackdown games, while raising visuals up quite a few notches. Yes, the particle system in the game, the HDR is actually really good, and not to mention most of the time people complaining about the visuals of Crackdown are sitting there playing something like Yakuza or Kingdom Hearts 3. Both great games for people that enjoy those franchises, but do not come to somebody who likes a Crackdown game and tell them that this game looks like trash. To them, they're going to think you're stupid. They're also going to think, well, it looks like Crackdown. Now, do I think it could have looked better? Do I think they could have taken advantage of some of the time they had? Yes, I do. Of course, they could have redefined the way Crackdown looks. They could have done something epic, but that didn't happen here. What it is, it's Crackdown in 2019. I am glad to see the explosions are great. The frame rate is absolutely locked. Keep in mind that I played this game on the Xbox One X. I did test it on the PC for a few minutes. All the options were there. It seemed pretty well optimized. But at the end of the day, this game had a fun factor to it that is ultimately hard to explain. You have to play this game to understand. If you play Doom and you like the fact that that pressure is always on, you gotta keep it moving, you got 50 enemies chasing you, then you may get what I'm talking about. But otherwise, it may fall on deaf ears. This is not a game that you can really understand by watching so much as, holy crap, look at all these bullets flying at me, jump, roll, dodge, explode, rinse and repeat. Now when it comes to the narrative, much like the original Crackdown games, there is little of it here. They took more of a Ghost Recon, Wildlands approach. Hey, here's the map, here's a bunch of stuff to do. By the way, if you do enough of this one certain thing, you lure out this one certain boss. If you like Wildlands, you didn't have a problem with that kind of narrative, you probably won't mind Crackdown too much. What I do know is that it does seem more narratively involving than some of the other games after going back and looking at those. But once more, keep in mind that I don't have the experience with those previous titles. I can only relate to what I do know. So gameplay, it crushes all the other Crackdowns combined. That seems to be the consensus. There is no problem here with Crackdown 3's gameplay. It is Crackdown at its best if you are looking for that experience. Visuals, it easily destroys all of the other Crackdowns combined. The HDR implementation is really, really good here. Keep in mind that at the time of this recording, you have to manually go into the main menu option screen to enable HDR. Yes, it is off by default, but once enabled, it looked absolutely phenomenal on my LG OLED. Explosions, particles, tons of stuff going on screen with no frame rate drops. But the world is quite barren. If this is going to compromise your immersion over all of the crazy weapons and the super soldier jumping off of buildings, well then this may be a notable thing for you. As I said, the story is quite basic, Ghost Recon Wildlands style. Do enough of these side activities, destroy enough of these things, lure out the boss, go have a boss battle, which are not all that notable. It's not like they are horrible, but they are not special, and that's just from my experience. The game also has platforming sections in the form of these towers you have to climb. Those are actually pretty intense and can be pretty complicated. Platforming feels pretty good, provided you are good with that right stick and keeping the camera where it needs to go. Orbs are also very present in the game. I've got something like 600 or 700 of them found. As I've said, it is more of a perfect party game for me. If I'm in a party talking to people, I don't really have to pay attention to what I'm doing. Crackdown 3 is a great game for a party. You can just blow things up, go to the next icon, collect the next orb, do this until you are, well, done with it. All while chatting with friends at a party. Keep in mind that I'm also really into narrative-driven games like Metro, Witcher, etc., as I've said, but Crackdown 3 is, once again, kind of one of those mindless games that you can have fun with, enjoy the combat, feel that pressure, collect those orbs, level up your guy, get some gamer score. I just didn't have any big issues with the game that would make me say, oh, that's a 5 out of 10. That seems irrational to me. The game is technically competent. I experienced 0 bugs in the game. There are definitely more cutscenes for each boss and things like that than I expected. So here's how I will actually handle Crackdown 3's recommendation, right? If you are a Crackdown fan, meaning if you enjoyed the other games, you were really looking forward to this, unlike myself. To me, I don't see how this wouldn't be worth a purchase to you personally. Everyone's different. If you are on the fence, want to give it a try, go rent it. You can do that at a traditional store if you can find one, a red box. Average price $5 or so for a week of gameplay. But you can also rent the game on Xbox Game Pass, which I call the best rental service ever. Everyone knows you're just renting these games, but you pay $10 for a month. You can have access to not only Crackdown 3 for that entire month, but 150 or 180 other games as well. Rent the game at the very least. Give the game a try. Rent it through Xbox Game Pass. Go to Redbox and rent it. You don't need to buy this game if you are even slightly hesitant. Give it a try on Xbox Game Pass. There you are, justifying bad games with Game Pass. Game Passes. Shut up, please. For all of our sakes, please stop. You can either go rent the game for $5 for a week, or you can rent the game for a month for $10 plus almost 200 other games. What is a much better deal? Of course you're gonna Game Pass it. It is a rental service. If you're not on the fence, you're a Crackdown fan, you're a Crack Rock fan, go ahead and pick it up. But do so knowing that this review is talking about the single player and the fact that I rented the game. I'm not really covering the Wrecking Zone stuff because I played it for a few minutes and just really didn't enjoy it a whole lot. I honestly think Microsoft should have launched this at half the price without the multiplayer, but that's me. See, there's somebody that doesn't enjoy the campaign out there that only enjoys the multiplayer. And that's why I do not state these things as though they are just universal fact. Wrecking Zone seemed okay, didn't spend enough time with it to really say, well, that actually is a 5. I just don't know. But from what I played, I had no desire to instantly jump back in. Once again, just me. So, let me know what you think down below if you've actually played the game. No, we do not want the opinions of those who just listen to everyone else talk about something, proceed to shit on the game, and never try it themselves. You guys, my friends, were extremely wrong about Crackdown 3 because, well, hey, you didn't even try the game. So if you played the game, let me know what your thoughts are. There are plenty of people that played it and didn't like it. This is not a universally applied opinion here. This is just my opinion. I'd like to know your opinion down below. Also, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. I know we're going to have a ton of butthurt people here that are upset because I found some enjoyment and gave a game a 7.5. But ultimately, what are you going to do? I didn't expect it either. Also, maybe share this with some friends if you liked the video. Maybe you want to share the message. Maybe you understand where I'm coming from. You feel the same way. That would be well appreciated. It really helps quite a bit. Also, if you're new and you like this kind of content, you like informational kind of content, factually backed content, and opinion pieces like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. And of course, if you want to support the channel on Patreon, we try to give away all of the newest, latest, and greatest games and more. But hey, that link is down below as well. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support content like this. Once more, I'm Dealer. I'm out.